The story begins by introducing a family with superpowers who are trying to regain their superpowers on a cliff by the sea. At that time, the head of the family named Soon-gu and his wife named Bok Gwi-ju are seen accompanied by Dong-hee and Gwi-ju, their 2 children, and a granddaughter named Ina, who is Gwi-ju's daughter. However, their efforts fail, leading to an argument. Unexpectedly, Gwi-ju suddenly sinks into the sea, causing them to panic. Fortunately, a woman named Dahae immediately swims to save Gwi-ju, who is, at that moment, dreaming about his happy past with his late wife, Se-yeon. After that, Dahae brings Gwi-ju to the shore and tries to revive him, as he is unconscious. When he finally wakes up, Gwi-ju sees Dahae as Se-yeon and immediately hugs her. However, he faints again upon realizing that the person he hugged is not Se-yeon. Gwi-ju is then taken to the hospital by his family, who think he tried to do the unthinkable due to depression. After that, Mundhum remembers that she has not yet met Dahae, the woman who previously saved Gwi-ju. In short, at the spa, the therapists are discussing how Mundhum is going to get a massage and mention that there will be a reward for anyone who can make her fall asleep. However, the therapists are reluctant because Mundhum is known to talk a lot. Eventually, Dahae, who also works there, volunteers to massage Mundhum, and the session begins with Dahae offers tea to Mundhum. Unexpectedly, she manages to make her fall asleep. When the massage session ended, Mundhum was surprised that she had been able to sleep and asked for the name of the therapist who made her fall asleep. Upon seeing Dahae, Mundhum remembered her as the person who saved Gwi-ju. Because of this, she decided to offer a reward to Dahae, but she declined, which impressed Mundhum, leading her to invite Dahae to visit her home. The next day, Dahae came to Mundhum's house and was amazed by its spaciousness as she entered. Dahae then looked into a room and was stunned by the collection of luxurious items inside the house. After that, Mundhum invited her to the garden, while Gwi-ju, who looked gloomy, was seen in his messy room, surrounded by dozens of bottles of alcohol. At that time, Mundhum forbade Gwi-ju from leaving his room due to the incident from the previous day, but he ignored her. Shortly after, Dahae offered to make tea for Mundhum and went to the kitchen to prepare it. When she got there, she saw Gwi-ju trying to open a bottle of alcohol with scissors. As she offered to help, Gwi-ju ignored her. When Gwi-ju was about to leave, Dahae accidentally dropped the alcohol bottle and quickly cleaned up the broken pieces to prevent them from harming him. After hearing the commotion, Mundhum came in and was pleased to see Dahae helping Gwi-ju. However, Gwi-ju's response was different from his mother's. After that, Dahae made the tea and mixed a sleeping pill into it. But there was someone who passed by the kitchen, although she did not find that person. Dahae then began massaging Mundhum while telling her that she is an orphan and has been married twice, with both marriages ending in failure. It turns out that her first husband cheated on her, and her second husband was always very abusive when he was drunk. Upon hearing this, Mundhum also shared that Gwi-ju had been married, but his wife died in an accident, which has left him depressed ever since. After the massage session was over, Dahae said her goodbyes and left for home. Following this, Mundhum drank her tea and talked to her husband about Dahae, mentioning that she lives alone, and then she fell asleep. Not long after, Dahae went to a sauna and met her mother, who works there as a masseuse. When Dahae wanted to eat, she suddenly felt scared upon seeing a fire. At the same time, Mundhum was seen dreamed about Dahae in her sleep. Upon waking up, she then told her husband that the dream was not very clear, but she saw Dahae wearing their family ring. Because of this, they became convinced that Dahae was the savior of their family. Meanwhile, Gwi-ju remembered that Ina's birthday is next Saturday, so he went to see her, but their relationship was strained, and the atmosphere became very awkward. Sometime later, a woman named Grace came to meet Gwi-ju at the family's gym to apply for a job as a trainer. Shortly after, Dong-hee also came and reviewed Grace's application, but they ended up mocking each other. When Grace left, Gwi-ju came to see Dong-hee and asked for help to buy Ina a gift. Apparently, Dong-hee works as a consultant at a liposuction clinic, but her overweight appearance often makes clients doubtful. This led to Dong-hee being fired from her job after her boss repeatedly saw all of their clients leaving. After that, Dong-hee went to buy bread to vent her sadness. But when she went to pay, all her cards had reached their limit, and she was forced to use the money meant for Ina's gift. Several days later, Ina's birthday arrived, where Mundhum and her husband were seen busy preparing for the event, and they also invited Dahae. At that moment, Gwi-ju then asked Dong-hee where the gift for Ina was. But she evaded the question, and Gwi-ju realized that the money he gave her was spent on food by Dong-hee. Shortly after, Dahae arrived, and Dong-hee bluntly asked her if she would marry Gwi-ju. Just as Dahae was sitting down, Mundhum also brought up the topic of matchmaking. Because of this, Gwi-ju quickly explained about his daughter, Ina, who was introverted and hard to approach, and that Dahae might be seen as an evil stepmother. While Dong-hee seemed indifferent to Dahae because she did not know her background. When the atmosphere felt awkward, Mundhum then invited Gwi-ju to talk alone, while her husband went to see Ina in her room. At that moment, Dong-hee told Dahae that her family wasn't like this before, and also confessed that she could fly anywhere but now has to be on a diet. Hearing this, Dahae thought that Dong-hee was a flight attendant. After that, Dong-hee asked Dahae to get some water for him from the kitchen. Meanwhile, Seung-gu went to see Ina and invited her to celebrate her birthday, where she said that she wanted seaweed soup. Hearing this, Seung-gu was delighted and immediately asked the maid to make seaweed soup. Shortly after, Dahae came to get water for Dong-hee and accidentally saw Mundhum arguing with Gwi-ju because he refused to be matched. It turned out Mundhum, who can see the future, said that Se-yeon would still be alive if he had not insisted on marrying her. At the same time, Ina accidentally saw the commotion from the upstairs and came down to blow out the candles, then went back to her room. Suddenly, it started to rain, and Ina saw Gwi-ju leaving the house, which made her believe that her birth was the beginning of a disaster for her parents. While Dong-hee could only cry as the food became soaked by the rain, and Seung-gu tried to cover the food. In the midst of that chaos, Mundhum suddenly fainted due to the earlier argument. So, Seung-gu decided to take his wife to the hospital and asked Dahae to turn off the stove. However, Dahae was confused and afraid of the fire, so she tried to find tongs and attempted to turn off the stove. Fortunately, Ina quickly came to turn off the stove and mentioned that she saw Dahae pouring powder into the tea she made for her grandmother yesterday. Hearing this, Dahae explained that it was licorice powder. On the other hand, Gwi-ju went to Se-yeon's grave, and at the same time, Se-yeon's parents were also there and saw him. They seemed unhappy with Gwi-ju, especially Se-yeon's mother, who wondered how Gwi-ju didn't get hurt at all in the accident. That night, Dahae had reheated the seaweed soup that had been prepared earlier, but Ina seemed hesitant to eat it. To reassure her that it was just ordinary seaweed soup with nothing added, Dahae ate some first. After that, they ate together, and Dahae then emphasized that Gwi-ju was not trying to do the unthinkable that day at the beach, so that Ina would not feel sad. However, Ina told Dahae to stay away from her family and explained that her family had superpowers but lost them due to the ailments of modern life. She said her grandmother needed to sleep to use her power to dream of the future, but now she suffers from insomnia. Her aunt, Dong-hee, is now too overweight to fly, while Ina herself doesn't know what her power is. Additionally, her father, Gwi-ju, used to be able to relive happy moments from the past just by closing his eyes, but now he can't find happiness in his past due to his depression. Shortly afterward, Gwi-ju came home and saw Dahae in the kitchen. She explained that she and Ina were eating and talking about his family superpower. Hearing this, Gwi-ju was surprised and said that the powers they supposedly had were just Ina's imagination. He also emphasized that they couldn't get married because he was depressed and couldn't protect anyone. However, Dahae responded by saying she saw him swimming into the sea to save a child's doll. After that, Dahae said goodbye and went home. When she got home, Dahae got ready for bed, but her mother came and woke her up. Unexpectedly, Grace was Dahae's sister. Furthermore, Dahae and her family are specialists in conning rich men. In the past, Grace played the role of having an affair with Dahae's first husband so that she could get a divorce. During her second marriage, Dahae injured herself while her second husband was drunk and did not remember the incident in court. Now, they are targeting the Bok family, and Dahae recounted what Ina had told her, laughing with her family. In addition, Dahae had found out that the Bok family would inherit the gym building to the child who got married first. Meanwhile, Gwi-ju went to see Ina to give her a doll as her birthday gift, where he gave it to her every year. Ina then remembered that Gwi-ju once said the doll was her protector while he was away. Ina then recalled the day her mother died, right when Gwi-ju left. At that moment, Se-yeon felt sad about Gwi-ju, then drove her car until she hit the road barrier and had an accident. The car was wrecked, and Se-yeon died because of severe injuries. The scene then shifted to when Gwi-ju was a child and played the lottery with his friend, winning a giant candy. When he got home, his mother was angry because of her nightmare. But while being scolded, Gwi-ju closed his eyes and instantly traveled back to a happy past when he won the giant candy. Because of this, Gwi-ju finally realized his power, and his mother was also happy because Gwi-ju had discovered his power. The next day, using his power, Gwi-ju went back to the past. But even though he could return, Gwi-ju couldn't touch or change anything. Additionally, he realized that a happy moment for him was sometimes a sad moment for someone else. For instance, when Gwi-ju saw a girl's dog getting hit by a car right next to the road where he won the lottery. Even though Gwi-ju repeatedly went back to that moment to prevent the dog from being hit, it always failed, and he couldn't change what had already happened. In the end, those moments of happiness faded as Gwi-ju witnessed the suffering of others, making it impossible for him to return to those moments again. Likewise, during the moment of Ina's birth, Gwi-ju felt very happy. But on the other hand, the hospital caught fire. Back in the present, Gwi-ju was seen went outside and saw the doll he had given thrown away. Additionally, he also saw a strange man watching him. Unbeknownst to Gwi-ju, that man was Da-hae's uncle, named Hyung-tae. Shortly after, when Ina was about to go to school, she also saw her discarded doll. She then felt that she didn't deserve all the birthday gifts, but Gwi-ju thought Ina didn't like his gift. Because of this, Gwi-ju went to the mall to find another gift for Ina. While, from a distance, Hyung-tae watched him and reported to Da-hae. As Gwi-ju was picking out shoes, Da-hae suddenly came over to greet him, claiming she was also shopping. However, Gwi-ju felt uncomfortable when Da-hae offered help and pointed to a pair of shoes. When Gwi-ju was about to leave, Da-hae held him back, causing Gwi-ju to refuse until her sleeve tore, making both of them feel awkward. After that, as Gwi-ju was drinking, Da-hae came and gave him the shoes as a gift for Ina. However, Gwi-ju got up to leave, so Da-hae held him back again to make him take the shoes, but Gwi-ju gave her some money to avoid feeling indebted. After Gwi-ju left, Da-hae decided to have a drink at a cafe. Suddenly, the fire alarm went off, causing people to panic and rush outside. While Da-hae, who was afraid of fire, was unable to move. As Da-hae stood there alone in fear, Gwi-ju suddenly returned and took her hand. Fortunately, the staff announced that the alarm was triggered by a technical error and that there was no fire. After that, Gwi-ju had already disappeared, and Da-hae headed home, lost in thought. Upon arriving home, Gwi-ju placed Ina's birthday gift at her bedroom door. When Ina tried on the shoes from Da-hae, she looked happy, and Gwi-ju was pleased to see her joy. The next day, Da-hae went to the Bok family gym because she was invited by Mundhum. While Dong-hee was upset seeing the men paying attention to Grace. Shortly after, Mundhum told Da-hae again that the gym building would be given to Gwi-ju if he married Da-hae. Hearing this, Da-hae immediately said that it was too soon for her because she wasn't ready to marry again. At the same time, Dong-hee eavesdropped on their conversation and took her mother aside to talk privately. But Grace was also seen followed them. Dong-hee then expressed her frustration because her mother seemed not to believe that she would be the first to get married. Additionally, she felt it was strange that their family kept running into Da-hae. On the other hand, Grace was seen exchanging secret signals with Da-hae. Not long after, Gwi-ju arrived, and Da-hae greeted him. But Gwi-ju responded by saying that it was very difficult for him to go out as he was suffering from depression. As he was about to leave, Da-hae quickly thanked him for holding her hand during the fire alarm incident. But Gwi-ju looked confused because he felt that it had never happened. At that moment, Mundhum came and was pleased to hear their conversation, where she said that Gwi-ju had fallen for Da-hae. After that, Da-hae offered tea again, and Mundhum soon fell into a deep sleep. Seeing this, Seung-gu was happy that his wife could sleep and told Gwi-ju that he agreed if he married Da-hae. Meanwhile, Da-hae was seen had dinner with her family while thinking about her next plan. Her mother then suggested that Grace should prevent Dong-hee from getting married. After that, Da-hae talked about how Gwi-ju had held her hand, but his expression looked desperate. The next day, Mundhum opened the window in Gwi-ju's room to let light into the dark and messy room, while giving him advice about marriage. She also asked Gwi-ju to be a good father to Ina. At the same time, Da-hae was at the sauna with her family when she received a message from Mundhum. Meanwhile, at school, The teacher asked the students to choose a club based on their interests, but Ina was seen confused as she had not made a decision yet. The teacher then called Ina, who was alone, and then contacted Gwi-ju, asking him to pay more attention to his daughter, where the teacher said that Ina couldn't blend in with the other students and remained silent to the point that her presence was unnoticed. Additionally, the teacher mentioned that Ina had never submitted the forum forms that required a parent's signature. Hearing this, Gwi-ju then checked Ina's room and found many unsubmitted forms there. When he was about to sign them, Gwi-ju suddenly felt hesitant and went to the kitchen looking for alcohol. Unfortunately, all the alcohol had already been thrown out by his father. Because of this, Seung-gu invited Gwi-ju to have a drink outside the house. When they arrived, Dahae was already there with Mundhom. As soon as Gwi-ju sat down, Mundhom left them alone to get better acquainted. Gwi-ju then poured a drink for himself, as did Dahae. Later that night, Dong-hee went to the clinic to see her boyfriend, Dr. Ji-hun. However, she saw her photo being removed and heard a woman's voice coming from Ji-hun's room. Dong-hee was upset and immediately opened the door to see Ji-hun giving a consultation to a woman who turned out to be Grace. Not long after, Dong-hee and Ji-hun went to a bar, where she asked him to marry her, saying they would own her family's gym building. However, Ji-hun refused, stating that he was embarrassed about owing rent to Dong-hee. Afterwards, Dong-hee went to the gym and ran on the treadmill out of frustration. Meanwhile, Ina was on her way home from school, and Hyung-tae continued to watch her. Ina, who was initially busy with her phone, felt uncomfortable and quickly ran into a public restroom. She then tried to call her family number, but no one answered. When Ina called her father, it was actually Dahae who answered the phone because Gwi-ju was drunk. Dahae then said that she would go to Ina and immediately woke Gwi-ju to inform him about her condition. Hearing this, Gwi-ju rushed out, and Dahae was shocked by the high cost of their drink bill. While stumbling, Gwi-ju ran to Ina's place with Dahae helping him along. When they finally arrived, Gwi-ju saw Hyung-tae in front of the restroom, and Dahae signaled for her uncle to leave. However, Gwi-ju held onto his leg and started hitting Hyung-tae, who was wearing a helmet, on the head. At that moment, Hyung-tae pretended to be hurt, but Ina suddenly came out, confused as to why Gwi-ju was hitting someone. It turned out, the real reason that she needed help was because she had started her period. Knowing this, Dahae immediately helped her, and Ina smiled. On the way home, Ina thanked Dahae, and when Dahae was about to leave, Gwi-ju invited her for a drink. Therefore, they went to a cafe and started talking. Gwi-ju then thanked Dahae for helping Ina, and Dahae also thanked him for holding her hand in the mall when the fire alarm went off. Unfortunately, Gwi-ju thought Dahae was lying because he felt he had never held her hand. However, Dahae said that it was the Gwi-ju from the future who had held her hand. She then suggested that Gwi-ju go back to the past by closing his eyes and thinking about that moment. She thought that perhaps that moment was a happy one for him, but Gwi-ju insisted that he couldn't touch anything when he went back to the past. Knowing this, Dahae said maybe she also had the ability to go back to the past. Meanwhile, at the gym, Dong-hee kept running because she was upset with her boyfriend. Grace, who saw her, stopped the treadmill and helped Dong-hee catch her breath because she was overexerting herself. After that, Dong-hee cried sadly. On the other hand, Gwi-ju returned home and signed Ina's forms. After that, Gwi-ju remembered what Dahae had said and tried closing his eyes. Unexpectedly, he managed to return to the past at the mall, and everything appeared in black and white. When the fire alarm went off, Gwi-ju hurried to find Dahae and finally found her, but he was astonished to see Dahae appearing normal and touchable, as Gwi-ju could hold Dahae's hand, and he was surprised that his power had returned, allowing him to touch someone in the past. After that, Gwi-ju saw a photo of Se-yeon and thought of returning to his happy moments with him. Gwi-ju then focused, closed his eyes, and successfully returned to that past moment. However, it wasn't Se-yeon that Gwi-ju saw but Dahae, who was helping him when he was drowning at the beach. Gwi-ju then couldn't believe that he considered that moment a happy one. After that, Gwi-ju tried closing his eyes again and returned to the moment when he saw Ina asking for his help. Gwi-ju also saw Dahae and his past smiling at Dahae. Seeing this, Gwi-ju felt shocked and thought that something must be wrong with him. The next day, Gwi-ju went to Dahae's workplace and asked to talk to her, as he was curious about who Dahae really was and how she could always be there when he went back to the past. Additionally, Why was Da-hye the only one in color and touchable in his past? Meanwhile, Da-hye felt confused by Gwi-ju's words. Not long after, Mundhum came out and invited Gwi-ju to talk privately, where she explained that it was love and suggested that he should keep an eye on Da-hye. In fact, Mundhum planned to make Da-hye as Ina's personal maid for a while, and she also felt confident that Da-hye could restore their family's powers. After that, Mundhum told Gwi-ju to meet Da-hye in front of the fountain on Sunday afternoon. Mundhum then started to persuade Da-hye to stay at their house while praising Gwi-ju in front of her. Sometime later, Gwi-ju went to the fountain as instructed and saw Da-hye from a distance. However, Gwi-ju felt that he didn't need to watch over Da-hye because he thought it was pointless that his power had returned if he couldn't change the sadness of the past. Gwi-ju then remembered his happy moment when Ina was born. At that time, he was working as a firefighter and his colleagues were happy to hear that Gwi-ju had become a father. Fortunately, when Gwi-ju had to go to the hospital to see Ina, his friend named Hung-jin was willing to cover for him. While Gwi-ju was happily holding Ina, a fire suddenly broke out in the school building behind the hospital, and the fire claimed the life of Hung-jin. Gwi-ju then became sad and felt guilty about his friend's death. Gwi-ju then closed his eyes and returned to the moment of Ina's birth and saw the fire. When he turned around, the door to his wife's hospital room appeared in color and could be opened. So Gwi-ju started running down the corridor toward the burning building. At that moment, Gwi-ju saw his colleagues busy rescuing the victims and also saw Hung-jin entering the burning building. But the wall suddenly collapsed with an explosion. At that moment, Gwi-ju told Se-yeon about the incident, and she looked sad. The next day, Gwi-ju returned to that moment, hoping he could change the situation. But after dozens of attempts, he always failed and couldn't change anything in the past. When the fire alarm went off, Gwi-ju immediately ran and got into his car. However, he disappeared and returned to that moment again. The next day, Gwi-ju's superior scolded him for always disappearing during emergencies, where he said that he couldn't let go of the moment of Hung-jin's death, and it was driving him crazy. Hearing this, Gwi-ju's superior told him to see a psychologist or quit his job. On the other hand, when young Ina was looking for her father, Se-yeon explained that her father had a special power. 7 years later, Gwi-ju was still trapped in that moment, until the day before the accident that took Se-yeon's life. That day, Se-yeon had asked Gwi-ju to stay by her side with Ina, as she was tired of Gwi-ju always disappearing. However, Gwi-ju still disappeared and returned to that moment. But this time, he remembered Se-yeon's words and did not open the door. When Gwi-ju opened his eyes, he was shocked to find his car in an accident, and Se-yeon was gone. Back in the present, Gwi-ju chose to leave Da-hye. When Da-hye returned home, she had dinner with her family, discussing the strange behavior of Gwi-ju and Mundhum. However, Da-hye's family considered that Gwi-ju and Mundhum were not sane and planned to make her the heir to seize the entire assets of the Bok family. The next day, Gwi-ju came downstairs and saw Da-hye in his house holding flowers. Da-hye then told Mundhum that Gwi-ju had given her the flowers, but Gwi-ju didn't believe her and asked Da-hye for an explanation. Hearing this, Da-hye explained that Gwi-ju had met her at the fountain and even hugged her. Still, Gwi-ju thought Da-hye was lying, which made her upset because Gwi-ju made her look like a fraud. After that, Gwi-ju went inside and stared at himself in the mirror, while Da-hye had breakfast with Mundhum and Seung-gu. At that moment, Mundhum mentioned that their family had different powers, and only Ina did not yet have a power. Ina, who heard this from the nearby table, said that her power was invisibility because no one talked to her at school. When she got to school, Ina saw her handsome friend named Junwoo. When Ina wanted to take a picture of him, her classmate named Hae-reem suddenly startled her. Apparently, Hae-reem approached Ina because she wanted Ina to join her dance group, and Hae-reem was also curious about her glasses. However, Ina quickly left because she felt uncomfortable being near Hae-reem. The scene then shifts to a fashion show where Dong-hee, appearing in her slim form, is the main model and captivates everyone. After the show, her boss gives her a pair of shoes as a gift, and Dong-hee immediately puts on her new shoes to fly among the buildings. However, in the midst of her happiness, her body suddenly becomes overweight again, and it turns out that Dong-hee was only dreaming. Shortly after, a real estate agent came and evicted Dong-hee from her apartment. When she returned home, Dong-hee asked her mom why she had sold her apartment and suspected that the family's finances were on the brink of bankruptcy. Unbeknownst to them, from behind, Da-hee was recording their conversation. After that, Da-hee walked to the front yard and Gwi-ju saw her. She then immediately reported to her mother about the Bok family's finances. When Da-hee looked at Gwi-ju, he then walked away from her. In the afternoon, Da-hee finished cooking, but no one wanted to eat, where Seung-gu said goodbye and went out, while Ina went straight to her room. Da-hee then took the initiative to ask Gwi-ju about Ina's favorite food, but Gwi-ju didn't know his daughter's favorite food. Shortly afterward, while getting ready to eat, Ina took off her glasses and Da-hee approached her, saying that her eyes were beautiful. Additionally, Da-hee told Ina that it wasn't that she was invisible. Rather, Ina viewed others as if they didn't exist. Da-hee then invited Ina to tidy up her eyebrows. Afterward, when Ina looked in the mirror, she was pleased with her transformation. From a distance, Gwi-ju was seen watching them. As Ina gazed into Da-hee's eyes, she was suddenly able to read Da-hee's thoughts about her plan to take over the Bok family's building and wealth. This realization shocked her. The following day, at school, Hae-reem was curious about Ina's neat eyebrows and took her glasses, causing them to fall. Shortly after, Jun-woo arrived, and when Ina looked into his eyes, she could read his thoughts revealed that he found her beautiful. Jun-woo then put her glasses back on, and Ina blushed by this. After that, Ina said that she would join the dance group with Hae-reem. On the other hand, Dong-hee felt her weight had gone down, so she called Ji-hun and asked him out to eat. However, Ji-hun declined, claiming he had surgery. Later that night, while Dong-hee was with a client, she saw Ji-hun with a woman, who turned out to be Grace. Dong-hee then followed them, until Grace began to act provocatively when Dong-hee arrived. Seeing her boyfriend cheating, Dong-hee walked away, but Grace was disappointed that Dong-hee didn't confront her for daring to seduce Ji-hun. When Ji-hun returned home, Dong-hee suddenly asked him to leave her apartment. At that moment, Ji-hun finally admitted that he didn't like seeing Dong-hee overweight and wanted to end their relationship, which she agreed. On the other hand, Da-hee was preparing dinner when the kitchen tissue caught fire, and she was confused about how to put it out. Fortunately, Gwi-ju came to help her and asked why she was cooking if she was afraid of fire. But she replied that she was doing it for their family. Hearing this, Gwi-ju finally sat at the dining table, followed by Ina, who joined them. After that, they ended up eating together. After finishing the food, Gwi-ju went to the kitchen and saw the flowers that Da-hee had brought earlier. He also recalled that Da-hee had said she was happy to receive those flowers. After that, Gwi-ju went outside to take out the trash, but he saw a flower vendor with flowers, just like the ones in his kitchen. Gwi-ju then held one of the flowers while thinking about Da-hee. Surprisingly, he returned to the moment at the fountain and began to think that only Da-hee could save him and Ina. But Da-hee needed to stay away from him to be safe. After that, Gwi-ju started following Da-hee. Initially, Gwi-ju didn't want to give her the flowers, but when Da-hee was almost hit by a motorcycle, he ended up hugging her to save her. On the other hand, Mundhum felt dizzy because her stocks were dropping. Knowing this, Da-hee then offered her some tea, while Seung-gu was seen at a club dancing with a young woman. Unbeknownst to him, Hyung-tae was recording this from the distance. As Da-hee was pouring the sleeping pills into the tea, Dong-hee suddenly came and wanted to drink it. However, Da-hee stopped her, making her suspicious and accused Da-hee of putting sleeping pills in her mother's tea. Da-hee immediately denied it and drank the tea herself to convince her. Not long after, while washing dishes, Da-hee felt extremely sleepy but tried to stay awake because Dong-hee was still watching her. Eventually, Dong-hee left, and Da-hee decided to follow her to the Bok family's valuable collection room. Upon discovering this, Da-hee started recording the room despite her drowsiness. When Dong-hee attempted to reach the top shelf by flying and finally succeeded, it shocked Da-hee, who then decided to leave immediately, thinking the house was haunted. Accidentally, Da-hee bumped into Gwi-ju, but she was again surprised when she saw in the mirror that Gwi-ju's reflection was not there. On the other hand, Gwi-ju was still in the past and had just saved Da-hee. When she saw the flower Gwi-ju was holding, she thought the flower was for her. Gwi-ju finally gave her the flower, realizing it was the incident Da-hee had mentioned earlier. In short, Gwi-ju returned to the present and Seung-gu approached him, happy to see that his power had returned. Seung-gu then took him to the storage room, where he showed Gwi-ju records about the powers of their ancestors that had been collected. where Soon-gu said that it seemed there was an incident similar to Gwi-ju's experience that had happened to their ancestors. It turned out, the powers of the ancestors manifested and became perfect because they met the right person. In Gwi-ju's case, the right person for him was Da-hye. After that, Soon-gu intended to tell his wife, but Gwi-ju stopped him because he still didn't understand the meaning of all this. After that, Gwi-ju went out and saw Da-hye running in fear. When he approached her, Da-hye was surprised because Gwi-ju suddenly appeared from different place with dry hair, and because of this Da-hye fainted. Knowing this, Mundhum and Soon-gu panicked, while Dong-hee appeared and said that Da-hye had followed her to the storage room and was shocked when she saw her floating. When Mundhum wanted to call an ambulance, Dong-hee stopped her mother, claiming that Da-hye was just asleep because she drank the tea mixed with medicine intended for her mom. She then tried to reveal bad things about Da-hye, but her family didn't believe her. After that, Gwi-ju watched Da-hye sleep, while remembering her words about seeing him from the future. On the other hand, Mundhum was asleep but dreamt about the sauna and Da-hye being taken away by medics. The next day, Da-hye woke up still frightened by the events of the previous night. When she left her room, Dong-hee greeted her, causing Da-hye to feel scared. As she went downstairs, Da-hye met Gwi-ju, but now his reflection was in the mirror. Gwi-ju then asked if Da-hye had seen him again the previous night. Da-hye, feeling scared, was tired of Gwi-ju never remembering the moments when he met her. Additionally, Da-hye still did not believe that Gwi-ju had superpowers. When Ina passed by, Da-hye then followed her and quickly fried an egg for her. Shortly after, Mundhum came and talked about her dream of the sauna and Da-hye being carried on a stretcher. Hearing this, Da-hye was shocked to hear about the sauna and felt awkward. When Ina went to school, Da-hye followed her again and apologized for ruining her breakfast eggs. However, Ina ignored her and reminded her to run away while she still could. After that, Da-hye returned to her room and packed her belongings before quietly leaving through the back door to go to the sauna. Unbeknownst to her, Gwi-ju saw her as she leaving the house. Shortly after, when she was about to enter the sauna, Da-hye suddenly remembered Mundhum's dream and hesitated. Despite her doubts, she had no choice and went inside. Unexpectedly, Gwi-ju also followed Da-hye, while she was telling her mother about the Bok family's powers. However, her mother dismissed it as Da-hye's hallucination. Despite this, she pleaded with her mom to find a new target. Hearing this, Da-hye's mom became angry and reminded her that she still hadn't paid off her father's debts. It turned out, when her father passed away, Il-hong, her current mother, came and made Da-hye the guarantor for her father's debts. After that, Il-hong said that the Bok family's assets were now limited to just the house and the gym building, so they didn't have much time. She also mentioned that they could retire from being con artists after this mission. At the same time, Gwi-ju entered the sauna, but Hyung-tae tried to stop him. While Da-hye kept recalling Mundhum's dream until she hit her head. At that time, Hyung-tae tried to contact Da-hye, but she didn't answer, until Gwi-ju managed to get inside to look for Da-hye. While Da-hye was talking with her mom, Gwi-ju suddenly appeared and was surprised to learn that Da-hye had a mother. Hyung-tae, realizing that Gwi-ju already met Da-hye and her mother, immediately triggered the fire alarm, causing everyone to panic, including Da-hye. Seeing Da-hye in fear, Gwi-ju came to help her. Unfortunately, Gwi-ju slipped and accidentally pushed her, causing her head to hit and her to faint. Because of this, Da-hye was carried on a stretcher and taken to an ambulance, just like in Mundhum's dream. After that, Il-hong asked Gwi-ju to become Da-hye's guardian and revealed that she was not her biological mother, as she was just a loan shark and a friend of Da-hye's father. Il-hong also shared that shortly after Da-hye's father died, Da-hye had an accident, where she was one of the victims of a high school building fire. However, Da-hye, who was injured, did not want to be treated because she couldn't afford it. Eventually, Il-hong came and adopted her as a daughter. Shortly after, Gwi-ju received a phone call from his mother. While Il-hong approached Da-hye and told her that she had taken care of Gwi-ju. At that moment, Gwi-ju told his mother that Da-hye was in the hospital, which made Mundhum worried. After the call ended, Gwi-ju went to see Da-hye and wrote on the form that he was her guardian. Not long after, Da-hye finished her treatment and Gwi-ju offered to take her home. He then confessed that he was a bit anxious because his mother's dream might come true, but Da-hye asked if their powers weren't currently lost. However, Gwi-ju replied that their powers had returned but something had changed, and she was the reason. Gwi-ju explained that the person who held Dahae's hand at the mall and the fountain was him from the future. So, what happened to Dahae had not yet happened to Gwi-ju. That's why he always disappeared. Hearing this, Dahae seemed confused, so Gwi-ju explained simply that her past is his future. When they arrived home, Mundhome regretted Gwi-ju's action of telling Dahae about their family's powers. But Gwi-ju responded that his mom also told Dahae about her dream. In the past, Gwi-ju felt frustrated because he couldn't save Se-yeon, and his mom had never dreamed about her. Besides, Mundhome had also said that even if she dreamed of Se-yeon, she couldn't prevent the fate that was supposed to happen and couldn't change anything, because Mundhome's dreams were only about stocks and the lottery. It turned out, Mundhome had stopped dreaming for 7 years, but now her power had returned because of Dahae. When Dahae returned upstairs, Dong-hee stopped her and asked if she was having trouble dealing with her family. Additionally, Dong-hee said she already understood Dahae's motive for coming to their family. In her room, the frightened Dahae began taking notes about the Bok family's powers. However, she still didn't know Ina's power. The following day, at school, Hae-rim asked Ina to sit and watch her and her team practice. When Ina was listening to music, Junwoo suddenly came and took her earphones. He then sat next to Ina, making Hae-rim jealous. On the way home, Ina stopped by a convenience store and Hae-rim followed her. At that moment, Hae-rim said that she was looking for Ina, who had left without saying goodbye. Hearing this, Ina felt happy because Hae-rim considered her a friend. While eating noodles, Ina took off her glasses and accidentally looked into Hae-rim's eyes, where she finally knew Hae-rim's thoughts, which said that if Ina wanted to be her friend, she must not like Junwoo. When Hae-rim started asking Ina for her opinion about Junwoo, she reluctantly said that Junwoo was annoying. However, Ina's words were overheard by Junwoo, making him angry. Meanwhile, at the gym, Grace saw Dong-hee working out, so she decided to brought up Ji-hun and apologize to her. Grace also admitted that she was a victim of Ji-hun and asked why Dong-hee didn't confront her at that time. Dong-hee then replied that it was her fault in the relationship with Ji-hun, as she couldn't maintain her weight. After that, Dong-hee was very determined to stick to her diet, but at night, she ended up carrying 2 bags of food. As she was heading to her room, Dong-hee saw her mom in front of Dahae's room, as she was worried that Dahae might run away because she knew their family's secret. Knowing this, Dong-hee then called Dahae, and eventually, she came out of her room. But Dahae said that she just wanted to go to bed early today. Mundhome then told Dong-hee that there are only 2 possibilities when someone learns their secret. Either they run away, or they exploit their powers. While, in her room, Dahae secretly filled out a marriage registration form. On the other hand, Gwi-ju decided not to drink alcohol because he remembered that he now had a purpose to save Dahae. He then closed his eyes and went back to the past in the sauna to find and follow Dahae. However, Gwi-ju accidentally entered the women's changing room. Gwi-ju was surprised, then doused himself with water to focus and returned to the moment when Dahae was scared yesterday. At that moment, Gwi-ju saw Dahae enter the storage room, then come out frightened. As Dahae climbed the stairs, she bumped into Gwi-ju, causing him to catch her. However, Dahae screamed when Gwi-ju saw that his reflection was not in the mirror. Gwi-ju then returned to the present time, and Dahae also came to see him soaking wet. Dahae finally realized that the Gwi-ju who appeared yesterday was actually the Gwi-ju from today. Dahae then approached Gwi-ju and said that she had just met him from the future, who brought a marriage registration form as a gift. Knowing this, Gwi-ju opened it and couldn't believe it, but she tried to convince Gwi-ju, reminding him that her past is his future. However, Gwi-ju explained that the sequence of events was incorrect. Although he could go back to the past, he couldn't bring anything from the future. Dahae then remembered that Mundhome had once told her that Gwi-ju used to be a firefighter but quit after his friend died. Unexpectedly, Dahae revealed that she had experienced the same fire, and that the person who saved her back then was Gwi-ju from the future. Hearing this, Gwi-ju seemed to believe Dahae and said that marriage should involve love, and he began to kiss her. However, their kiss was interrupted when Dahae felt someone watching them from the door. After that incident, Gwi-ju returned to the past to submit the marriage registration form, while Dahae was overwhelmed with guilt and fear that her plan would be discovered. That night, Mundhome invited Dahae for a talk because she couldn't sleep. Eventually, she confessed that her dreams now only involved Dahae. Hearing this made Dahae even more anxious, and as she was about to slip a sleeping pill into Mundhom's drink, she suddenly grabbed her hand. On the other hand, Gwi-ju was still confused because he couldn't submit the marriage registration form, as he felt no love after their kiss. But when Gwi-ju tried to sleep, he kept returning to the moment he kissed Da-hae over and over again until he couldn't sleep. The next day, Gwi-ju saw Da-hae cleaning the house and suddenly sneaking into their family's storage room. She was actually very curious about the ring Mundhom mentioned in her dream last night. Gwi-ju then caught Da-hae and finally took her outside, still doubtful. Gwi-ju asked Da-hae to explain how he saved her from the fire 13 years ago. But Da-hae remained silent and didn't say anything, leading Gwi-ju to assume that her story was a lie. Da-hae, who thought they were already dating, then asked when Gwi-ju would tell their family about the marriage registration. However, Gwi-ju said he didn't feel any love from their kiss the night before, which upset her with his words and slapped him. Meanwhile, in the Bok family storage room, Mundhom was busy looking for her missing watch. At that time, she immediately accused Dong-hee of taking the watch, as she was usually the culprit. But Dong-hee denied it and suspected that Da-hae was the one who took the watch. Coincidentally, they caught Da-hae in Gwi-ju's room with a worried expression on her face. Dong-hee became even more suspicious of the item Da-hae was hiding, but it turned out that the item she was holding was a marriage registration form between her and Gwi-ju. Seeing this, Mundhom was very happy. In fact, she intended to hold the wedding reception right away, but Gwi-ju said that they needed to meet Da-hae's family. Mundhom then said that Da-hae didn't have a family, but Gwi-ju mentioned that Da-hae had a mother. Hearing this, Mundhom started to distrust Da-hae. On the other hand, the missing watch of Mundhom had been taken by Ina and given to Hae-rim as a birthday gift. On that day, Ina read Hae-rim's mind and found out she liked her shoes, so she lent them to her. Not long after, Soon-gu went to the sauna where Da-hae's mother and her family lived. But the sauna was closed, so Soon-gu ended up visiting a private detective to check the background of Da-hae's adoptive mother. However, the detective he approached already knew about Il-hong's background. Soon after, Soon-gu called Mundhom and asked her to be careful because their prospective in-law was a criminal. Il-hong was known as a loan shark and a con artist. At the same time, Il-hong came to their house and provided clarification to prevent any bad rumors about Da-hae. Il-hong then admitted that she used to be a con artist and a loan shark and had been to prison. While in prison, she lost her own child, and because of that, she felt remorseful and adopted people in need like Da-hae. So, all the children who followed her were not her biological children. After that, Il-hong went home, accompanied by Da-hae. While Gwi-ju immediately asked if his mom still wanted to register his marriage or not. Because of this, Mundhom was confused after she had started to suspect Da-hae. When Da-hae escorted her mom out, they met Ina, where Da-hae noticed that Ina was wearing different shoes than the ones she wore to school. This reminded Da-hae of her past when she was bullied by her classmates and even went to school without wearing shoes. Da-hae, who truly cares about Ina, immediately went to her room to ask her about it. She then also noticed a scar on her head, but Ina said it was an old scar. After that, Da-hae suspected that Ina might be bullied by her classmates. However, Ina, who could read Da-hae's thoughts, quickly replied that she had friends. Because of this, Da-hae then recalled that Ina had previously responded to her thoughts as well. To confirm her suspicions, she thought to herself that there was a spider on Ina's head. But she did not react at all, because Ina was not afraid of spiders. Sometime later, at the Bok family gym, Grace was, as usual, training a male customer. After the workout, the man insisted on taking her out to eat. Grace then refused, but the man kept insisting until eventually tried to hit her. Fortunately, Dong-hee appeared from behind and helped Grace. In the end, Grace invited Dong-hee to eat, and once again, she was amazed by her appetite. When Dong-hee returned home, her mother told her that Da-hae's adoptive mother was a criminal. While Gwi-ju, noticing something odd about Da-hae's behavior, invited her to talk. At that moment, Gwi-ju was once again curious and wanted to confirm that Da-hae was not lying. He then asked again about the events of the fire 13 years ago, when he saved her. However, Da-hae avoided answering the question again. Gwi-ju became frustrated and asked who Da-hae really was and why she was the only person he could save in the past. But Da-hae also got angry and said that she didn't know either. Unexpectedly, Gwi-ju suddenly returned to the moment when he had asked Da-hae about the previous fire incident, where he saw himself leaving Da-hae, and Da-hae, who was upset, suddenly stopped in the street because her shoelace had come undone. At that moment, Gwi-ju helped Da-hae tie her shoelace. In the end, Gwi-ju concluded that Da-hae was not strong enough to talk about the incident from 13 years ago. When he returned to the present, Da-hae said that she couldn't talk about her trauma so easily. Sometime later, although Mundhum had doubts about Da-hae, Seung-gu still fully supported her marrying Gwi-ju, knowing that his son powers could return when he was with Da-hae. When Seung-gu told Gwi-ju to meet Da-hae, Gwi-ju suddenly disappeared and returned to the moment of their kiss. But this time, he chose to leave the room and eventually saw Ina enter the family's storage room. Because of this, Gwi-ju then realized that the person who had taken the watch was Ina. Meanwhile, Da-hae went to Ina's school to bring her shoes. But none of the students there knew Ina. After finally finding her, she was with Hae-rim, and Da-hae noticed that Hae-rim was wearing Mundhum's watch and Ina's shoes. Da-hae, who truly cared for Ina, invited her to talk privately, where she warned Ina to be careful of Hae-rim, as she was only trying to take advantage of her. However, Ina believed that Hae-rim was her friend and didn't accept Da-hae's advice, even though she was genuinely trying to help. Ina even threatened to tell the whole family that Da-hae was a fraud after she revealed all of her past and the wicked plans of her family. Because of this, Da-hae became anxious and realized that Ina's power was the ability to read minds. Having been found out by Ina, Da-hae immediately called Hyung-tae and said that they had targeted the wrong person. While Da-hae was in fear, Gwi-ju appeared there. Knowing this, Da-hae ran to an auditorium and entered a storage room within the auditorium. However, she ended up getting locked inside because a school janitor unexpectedly locked the room. Da-hae quickly called Hyung-tae for help, but he was forbidden to leave by Il-hong. Shortly after, Da-hae's trauma of the fire resurfaced, as the atmosphere of the storage room was very similar to the storage room at her school. She then tried to remove the bars from the storage room window, and the event mirrored exactly what had happened during the fire in the past. Because of this, Da-hae fell and sat weakly, with her memories of her school days coming back once again. On the day of the fire, Da-hae was locked in the school storage room on the 5th floor by some bullies. At that time, the school alarm went off, but no one believed it was a fire because the school alarm often malfunctioned. Eventually, the fire grew larger, and smoke spread everywhere, causing people to run out of the rooms. The bullies who had locked Da-hae up remembered her, but she was too scared to go back and ended up escaping on her own. Eventually, smoke started to fill the room where Da-hae was locked, causing her to panic and struggle to breathe. Da-hae also tried to remove the bars from the school window and escape, but all her efforts were in vain. Fortunately, Gwi-ju managed to find Da-hae, and she immediately cried while saying that the current incident was exactly like what happened when she was in high school. She said that at that time, she was also trapped in the school storage room. Gwi-ju then remembered when he went back to the past, he had heard a student asking his coworker to save a student who was locked in the storage room. Gwi-ju immediately asked Da-hae if the storage room at that time was on the 5th floor. Hearing this, Da-hae was surprised at how Gwi-ju knew. However, Gwi-ju didn't answer and realized that she had not been lying all along. After that, Gwi-ju also felt that he had indeed saved Da-hae when she was in high school. Although Gwi-ju acknowledged this, Da-hae knew that the person who saved her was not him because when she was rescued, she saw that the man who saved her had a scar on his neck, while Gwi-ju didn't have any scars on his neck at all. Feeling that his powers were finally useful to someone else, Gwi-ju became enthusiastic. At the same time, Da-hae grew more afraid of the Bok family's powers and decided to run away while Gwi-ju was on the phone with Ina's teacher. When she arrived at the sauna, Da-hae told Hyung-tae and her mom about the Bok family's superpowers, but they didn't believe her. Da-hae then insisted that she wanted to quit and no longer wanted to deceive the family or stay in the Bok family house. Unexpectedly, this time, Il-hong didn't force her and accepted Da-hae's decision to quit. Meanwhile, after school, Gwi-ju invited Ina to talk. But as usual, she didn't want to pay attention to her father's words. Additionally, her father had disrupted Ina's friendships at school. The reason Gwi-ju went to the school was to retrieve the watch that had been stolen by Ina. As a result, Hae-rim ended up thinking that Ina saw her as a bully, and Ina, who was upset with Gwi-ju, became even less willing to talk to him. She also said that she only wanted to speak with Da-hae. When they got home, Gwi-ju looked for Dahae in her room, but she wasn't there. Eventually, Gwi-ju went to the sauna and helped Il-hong with the sauna laundry, but he ended up being more of a nuisance. When Gwi-ju tried calling Dahae again, Kyung-tae finally showed him where Dahae was and invited her to relax at a cafe and talk. At that moment, Gwi-ju said that Dahae would no longer be suspected of being a thief because the person who took Mundhom's watch was Ina. Therefore, he invited Dahae to return to the Bok family's house. But Dahae refused and said that, as a normal person, she couldn't fit in with a family that had superpowers. Dahae then asked Gwi-ju to convey her farewell to the entire Bok family. She also asked Gwi-ju to bring all her belongings. However, Gwi-ju, who was starting to fall in love with Dahae, began to improve himself by exercising regularly, cleaning his room, and cooking for Ina, even though she never acknowledged him. The next day, Gwi-ju returned to the sauna to see Dahae, and he said that Ina was also waiting for her to come home. Unfortunately, Dahae didn't want to hear that and asked where her belongings were that she had requested earlier. But Gwi-ju only brought the tongs that Dahae used to turn the stove on and off. Over time, Gwi-ju continued to try to win Dahae's heart, until he insisted that he wouldn't go home until Dahae agreed to go with him. Eventually, Dahae agreed to Gwi-ju's request to meet Ina. When they met, Ina said that she was sure the person who told her father about her stealing her grandmother's watch was Dahae. However, Dahae didn't answer directly. Instead, she asked Ina to read her mind. But Ina said that she couldn't read people's minds while wearing glasses and also from a distance. Additionally, Ina also explained that Hae-reem was not the friend who bullied her at school, but rather her good friend. Therefore, she just wanted to give a gift to her. After meeting with Ina, Dahae explained to Gwi-ju that Ina was not actually being bullied. She also reminded Gwi-ju not to involve her again, because what Ina needed was her father, not Dahae. However, Gwi-ju said that he needed Dahae because his powers only manifested when he was with her. Gwi-ju was able to know that Ina stole the watch because he had returned to the past while with Dahae. Meanwhile, at the sauna, Dong-hee was spying on Dahae's family on her mom's orders. She then saw Grace talking with Il-hong as they were discussing Dahae. When Grace left, Dong-hee wanted to follow her, but Il-hong, knowing her purpose there, stopped her. She then offered to give Dong-hee a massage, while saying that she could help her lose weight. Not long after, Dong-hee actually did lose weight after being massaged by Il-hong. When she wanted to pay, Il-hong refused and instead told her to inform Mundhom that she would not allow Dahae to return to the Bok family house unless Dahae married Gwi-ju officially. When Dong-hee got home, she immediately told her family about it, and also explained that Grace was conspiring with Dahae. Mundhom became even more worried after hearing Dong-hee's story. However, Gwi-ju didn't believe it at all. In fact, he demonstrated his ability to return to the past, thanks to Dahae. Because of this, Mundhom and Dong-hee were surprised to see that Gwi-ju had regained control of his powers. Soon-gu then explained that Gwi-ju was able to control his powers again after meeting Dahae. Elsewhere, Ina and her friends were at an amusement park. When Hae-reem wanted to take a photo with Junwoo together, suddenly he also invited Ina to join the photo instead. After that, Ina felt envious of the little children, who still had their mother and father. Unexpectedly, Junwoo noticed this and gave her some cotton candy. Shortly after, Hae-reem asked Ina to invite Junwoo to the carousel ride because she wanted to confess her feelings to Junwoo. But after they arrived at the carousel, Hae-reem didn't show up. Surprisingly, it was Junwoo who confessed his feelings to Ina. At the same time, Hae-reem appeared and heard everything. Meanwhile, Gwi-ju went to the sauna again to get Dahae's attention. However, she remained indifferent and left him to enter the sauna. Gwi-ju then continued to follow Dahae and asked her to teach him how to cook seaweed soup because both Ina and himself liked eating seaweed soup. Il-hong, overhearing Gwi-ju's request, suddenly gave him a lot of onions to peel. Meanwhile, Mundhom and her husband came to the sauna to greet Dahae's family. Even though Mundhom had doubts and didn't like Dahae because she believed she was a fraud, they realized that only Dahae could bring back their family's powers. However, Mundhom was shocked to see Gwi-ju peeling onions, almost causing her to faint. In the end, Il-hong invited Mundhom to rest in the sauna room, but she refused, saying that the place was too filthy. So, she decided to go home. Before leaving, she would register the marriage of Gwi-ju and Dahae. Il-hong was delighted to hear this and offered Mundhom a massage. After being massaged, she finally fell asleep. While waiting for Mundhum, who was sleeping, they ate together. However, Dahae looked worried because she feared that Mundhum would have a bad dream about her. While they were enjoying their meal, Mundhum suddenly woke up from her sleep and screamed in fear. Mundhum then insisted that her husband and her son immediately go home, with a scornful expression on her face. When they got home, Mundhum asked Gwi-ju to end his relationship with Dahae and not to go to the sauna again. However, Gwi-ju refused and asserted that he was now sure he wanted to marry Dahae. The next day, Gwi-ju went to the sauna again, bringing Dahae's favorite flowers, and proposed to Dahae, explaining that his mom's dream yesterday was about their wedding. Knowing that their mission had finally succeeded, Ilhong's family celebrated by drinking together. Before going to bed, Dahae received a message from Ina, congratulating her on her marriage to her father. In the message, Ina referred to Dahae as a fraud. Sometime later, the wedding of Gwi-ju and Dahae was held in a grand and luxurious manner, but without any guests. Before the wedding began, Seung-gu entered Dahae's dressing room and explained how Gwi-ju had initially lost his powers. On the other hand, Mundhum told Gwi-ju that this was a painful moment. Meanwhile, Hae-rim came to meet Aina and returned all of her belongings, including the watch that she had gifted her. On the other side, Ilhong acted sweetly towards Mundhum because she felt she had successfully deceived another wealthy person. She then offered to give Mundhum another massage, but she refused. After that, she thanked Ilhong for the previous massage because it allowed her to see her dream very clearly. Sometime later, Ina was about to return her grandmother's watch to its original place when she was caught by Mundhum. She was suspected that Ina stole the watch because she was afraid that her father would marry Dahae. Therefore, Mundhum did not get angry at her and said that Gwi-ju would not be taken away by Dahae. Meanwhile, at the Bok family gym, Dong-hee tried to scare Grace by saying that she had sabotaged the marriage between Gwi-ju and Dahae because she had proof that Dahae was a fraud. Dong-hee claimed that she found drugs in Dahae's room, but Grace calmly replied that Dahae would not bring drugs, only sleeping pills. In the end, Dong-hee managed to reveal Dahae's secret of always using sleeping pills on her mom. Dong-hee then immediately ran home to find the evidence. However, Grace followed her to inform her mom. Instead, Grace met Mundhum, and she told her that she recognized Grace's because she had seen it in her dream before. While Dong-hee was busy searching Dahae's room, the wedding was about to start. At that moment, Dahae looked stunningly beautiful, leaving everyone in awe. However, Mundhum said that Dahae looked exactly like she did in her dream. As Dahae walked to the altar, she remembered the story about Gwi-ju from Seung-gu, who said that Gwi-ju had experienced severe depression. But eventually, he recovered because he was motivated by finally being able to use his powers when he was with Dahae. Therefore, Dahae began to have doubts about continuing her scam. Meanwhile, Dong-hee managed to find the sleeping pills that Dahae had hidden. When she was about to show this to her family, Grace suddenly appeared and blocked her way. A struggle ensued, and eventually, Dong-hee fell to the floor below. Grace was shocked to see Dong-hee floating. Meanwhile, Gwi-ju was walking with Dahae to the altar. He then asked Dahae to look around them, as he would return to this moment. He also emphasized that he marked this moment as a happy one for a very long time. Hearing that, Dahae then let go of Gwi-ju's hand and admitted that she was a fraud. After revealing all the truths, Dahae left the wedding ceremony. Because of this, Mundhum smiled as this moment was exactly what she had seen in her dream. After being deceived by Dahae, Gwi-ju kept returning to the past, to moments with her. Meanwhile, Dong-hee handed over their family ring and the sleeping pills she found in Dahae's bag, which made Mundhum hate her even more. Back to Gwi-ju, who was in the past and saw himself there, wanting to confirm with Dahae that the event where he had saved her from the fire wasn't a trick. However, Dahae remained silent, leading Gwi-ju to suspect that the man who saved her might have been his friend who had died. Unfortunately, Dahae had grown up to become a con artist, squandering the life of his friend. But at that moment, Dahae could see Gwi-ju from the future. Meanwhile, at the sauna, Ilhong was angry with Dahae for ruining their plan. But she said that she wanted to stop everything and told Ilhong that if she didn't accept it, she could kill her. As the result, Dahae was locked in her room, while Hyung-tae told Ilhong that it was possible for Dahae wanted to quit because the Bok family truly had superpowers. Shortly after, Grace arrived and confirmed that because she had seen Dong-hee's power. Hearing Grace's confession, Il-hong didn't truly believe it and said that she would believe it if she saw it herself. As time went on, Gwi-ju felt troubled and kept returning to all the past moments with Da-hae. As a result, his family was puzzled about why this was happening. However, Mundhum was more focused on being cautious about Il-hong's future plans. The next day, at school, In-na was isolating herself again. Not long after, Junwoo came and invited her to eat, but she refused. After Junwoo left, Hae-rim and the others appeared and also invited her to eat. However, when Hae-rim took off In-na's glasses, she could read Hae-rim's thoughts that she wanted not to leave. Feeling scared, In-na chose to run away from school. And she also remembered memories of her mother, where the accident was her mother's attempt to do the unthinkable. After that, In-na realized she almost got hit by a car. But without her glasses, In-na could read many people's thoughts, which frightened her. At home, Seung-gu received news from the school that In-na had disappeared, so he immediately reported it to Mundhum. However, Seung-gu was turned away by her. When Seung-gu looked for Gwi-ju, he couldn't find him because Gwi-ju was still busy returning to the past. Sometime later, when Gwi-ju returned, he panicked upon hearing the news of In-na's disappearance. It turned out, In-na had gone to the sauna, where Il-hong took her in. At that moment, Il-hong said that she knew all about the Bok family's powers. Therefore, she wanted In-na to show her powers, but In-na cleverly kept her eyes covered to avoid being discovered. After that, Da-hae was called to meet In-na, as Il-hong was curious about her powers, but Da-hae said that In-na had no powers. However, Il-hong said that this was Da-hae's second chance, so she had to take advantage of the Bok family and take their money. Da-hae then met with In-na and asked why she dared to come to her place with her glasses were missing. In-na then said that she came because Da-hae was the only person she could look at without fear. In-na also mentioned that her father kept going back to the past, which made Da-hae feel embarrassed. However, In-na thought that Da-hae loved her father, which she denied, and then quickly took her to buy new glasses. As they were about to leave, Il-hong wanted to verify In-na's powers again, and they ended up staring at each other until Da-hae quickly took In-na away. Da-hae then bought In new glasses, even though she had to spend a lot of money. When they went outside, Gwi-ju was already there to pick them up, where In-na told Gwi-ju that she had briefly read Il-hong's thoughts, revealing that she wanted to test Da-hae's loyalty. After that, Gwi-ju scolded In-na for running away from school and going to the sauna, but she insisted that she went to Da-hae on her own and emphasized that Da-hae was not a bad person. After putting In-na in the car, Gwi-ju asked Da-hae again about the truth regarding the high school fire incident, as it had claimed his friend's life. Gwi-ju also emphasized that he would forget Da-hae forever. However, as Gwi-ju left, Da-hae was approached by Gwi-ju from the future, who asked her to stop the present-day Gwi-ju. Seeing Da-hae's odd behavior left Gwi-ju and In-na very confused, but he then asked if Da-hae was interacting with him. At that moment, Da-hae immediately conveyed the message from future Gwi-ju to save Dong-hee. Knowing this, he quickly called Dong-hee, but she seemed to be fine. However, Da-hae didn't elaborate further, feeling that she had already conveyed her message. Because of this, Gwi-ju became frustrated after Da-hae left abruptly. Meanwhile, Dong-hee was annoyed because Grace still dared to meet her. She then called Ji-hun and asked him to meet up so she could tell him who Grace really was. On the other hand, Grace sabotaged the building's elevator, forcing Dong-hee to take the stairs. Afraid that Ji-hun would wait too long, Dong-hee decided to fly down the stairs. But before she was ready, Grace pushed her from behind while filming. Instead of flying, Dong-hee fell. Fortunately, Gwi-ju was there to catch her. At that moment, Da-hae was also present, and she saw Grace with Young Tae, who decided to leave. After the incident, Da-hae and Gwi-ju took Dong-hee to the hospital. After an examination and treatment, the doctor said that Dong-hee fainted due to a lack of nutrition. While In-na and Da-hae waited outside, she was puzzled as to how Da-hae knew her aunt was in danger. Da-hae then honestly confessed that she could see and touch Gwi-ju from the future. This revelation left In-na in awe. While Dong-hee, who had regained consciousness, immediately called her mom and said that In-na was kidnapped by Da-hae and that Da-hae was also there when she fell. But Gwi-ju immediately came and explained that it was actually Da-hae who saved her. Unexpectedly, Young Tae was also there eavesdropping on Dong-hee's conversation. Mundhum was very upset and rushed to the hospital. Upon seeing Da-hae, she immediately slapped her and accused her of kidnapping it. However, Da-hye didn't retaliate, as she only warned Mundhome that even though they had powers, Il-hong would still fight them. Ina quickly defended Da-hye, explaining that she went to see Da-hye herself. Ina also said that Da-hye could see Gwi-ju from the future. Shortly after, Da-hye left with Hyung-tae. When they got home, Mundhome was angry at Soon-gu for not informing her from the start. However, he explained that he just wanted to be sure first because he didn't have any powers, and that was his way of helping. Nevertheless, Mundhome didn't care about her husband, leaving him feeling distressed. Sometime later, Gwi-ju visited Dong-hee to check on her. When Gwi-ju returned to the living room, Ina praised his father for using his powers to help others. She also asked her father to help Da-hye, who might be in trouble. As Ina also mentioned that there was a special reason for Da-hye to reveal her deception. Gwi-ju, who was unsure, finally went to the past and approached Da-hye, asking her why she saved him from Il-hong's scam. However, Il-hong suddenly appeared and slapped her, then forcibly took her away. Meanwhile, at the sauna, Il-hong was upset because Da-hye had kept it a secret that she could see the future Gwi-ju. However, Gwi-ju suddenly came and wanted to propose a collaboration with Il-hong. Apparently, he wanted Il-hong to let them be together because Gwi-ju needed Da-hye to maximize his powers. Da-hye then asked what Gwi-ju's intention was, and he replied that he wanted to be with her. But Da-hye refused and said that everything was over. However, Gwi-ju insisted that he would change it. He then went back to the past, right when he was picking up Ina. Upon returning, Gwi-ju negotiated by offering insights into the future regarding the lottery, stocks, real estate, and cryptocurrency. But Il-hong's family was more interested in exploiting the Bok family's powers to make money. Gwi-ju then agreed, but Da-hye disagreed, as seeing his power was like seeing a ghost. Gwi-ju then went back to the past and saw Il-hong angry at Da-hye for letting him go. However, Da-hye said that she wanted to forget Gwi-ju. She also admitted that she had fallen in love with Gwi-ju, and that's why she canceled their plan. Therefore, Da-hye asked for Il-hong's help to keep her away from Gwi-ju. Meanwhile, Soon-gu returned home from a nightclub and snuck in quietly. But Mundhome didn't notice because she was busy with her dreams. The next day, at the sauna, Gwi-ju came to see Da-hye again. He even became a worker there and didn't hesitate to join Da-hye's family for a meal. Grace then asked Gwi-ju to go back to the past to check stock prices. However, he failed because last week was the time of his failed wedding. Not long after, Da-hye felt uncomfortable because her family and Gwi-ju were getting closer. When she wanted to leave, Il-hong immediately told Gwi-ju to follow her. It turned out that Da-hye was going to meet a target she intended to scam, and Gwi-ju watched her. She then demonstrated her trick of spilling a drink, just as she had done with him before. When the situation started to get messy, Gwi-ju went straight to Da-hye and claimed to be her third husband, then took her away. Even though he knew that he was deceived, Gwi-ju still considered that Da-hye's trick on him seemed very sincere. However, Da-hye said that it was just part of her act. She then demonstrated her trick again with a random man. Unfortunately, that man was already married and very aggressive. Seeing this, Gwi-ju came and immediately took Da-hye away. Afterward, he invited Da-hye to eat, but she refused and discussed the collaboration that he had proposed. At that moment, Da-hye offered 10 million won as payment for helping Gwi-ju, and he agreed to it. They eventually dined at a restaurant. During that moment, Da-hye reminded Gwi-ju not to be conceited and think that his power could save people. She also stated that staying with Il-hong's family was her own choice, so he didn't need to help her. Gwi-ju then recounted a happy moment when he first discovered his power. However, he also felt sad when he couldn't help others. Hearing this, Da-hye was puzzled why Gwi-ju was so eager to help people. But suddenly, Gwi-ju disappeared and went back to the moment when he first became a firefighter and got injured while trying to rescue a victim. At that time, Hung Jin kept scolding him for being careless. Unexpectedly, at that moment, Gwi-ju saw Il-hong, so he followed her. It turned out to be the moment of Da-hye's father's death, and at that time, she was forced to pay her father's debts. Seeing this, Gwi-ju paid his respects and gently held Da-hye, allowing her to finally release the sadness she had been holding back. When they returned to the sauna, Il-hong was upset that Da-hye carried out a plan without orders. However, Da-hye said that she wanted to forget Gwi-ju. Hearing this, Il-hong then said that both families needed to have a conversation to resolve their issues. Meanwhile, at home, Ina checked Gwi-ju's thoughts using her power and she was pleased to see her father getting closer to Dahae. At the same time, Mundhum kept dreaming about Dahae wearing her family's ring. On the other hand, Seung-gu was happily dancing with a young woman who was his mistress. Unexpectedly, the woman's husband arrived and threatened to sue him. The next day, at the Bok family gym, Dong-hee managed to find the person who pushed her. Coincidentally, Grace arrived and showed no remorse. Dong-hee then immediately chased after her. Cornered, Grace then pleaded with Dong-hee not to push her down. But she let her go and instead asked for Grace's help. Not long after, Gwi-ju came to the sauna again, but Dahae kept avoiding him. Knowing this, Il-hong instructed Hyung-tae to escort Dahae. Along the way, Dahae continued to avoid Gwi-ju, while Hyung-tae followed them. Seeing the awkward silence between Gwi-ju and Dahae, Hyung-tae tried to lighten the mood by playing with bubbles and setting up a picnic spot. However, Gwi-ju said that he would be happy if he saw Dahae happy. Therefore, he called Hyung-tae brother and invited him to buy Dahae's favorite ice cream, leaving her behind. Hyung-tae then accompanied Gwi-ju out of town to buy ice cream. Once there, Gwi-ju borrowed an ice cream bowl because it couldn't be packed for takeaway. He also asked Hyung-tae to buy a return ticket. By coincidence, Gwi-ju saw the winning lottery numbers and quickly went into a changing room. When Hyung-tae checked the room, Gwi-ju was suddenly gone. It turned out that Gwi-ju had gone back to the moment when Dahae was left alone and gave her the ice cream. This gesture moved her, and she finally shared that she was upset when happiness came at the cost of selling her sorrow. Dahae also resented the person who saved her during the fire, as it led her to become a con artist. Dahae then asked Gwi-ju to retrieve a valuable item left at her house, which was the ring of the person who saved her. After that, Gwi-ju gave the winning lottery numbers as a substitute for the 10 million one that Dahae had asked for. Gwi-ju then requested that she use the money to pay off her debt to Il-hong, so Dahae wouldn't have to sell her sorrow for her happiness anymore. Afterward, Gwi-ju returned to the present and met with Hyung-tae, which left him utterly confused. Even when he went home, Hyung-tae seemed like a madman, unable to comprehend what he had witnessed from Gwi-ju. Meanwhile, Dahae was shocked because the lottery ticket she had bought turned out to be a winner. The next day, Ji-hun saw a luxury car and it reminded him of Dong-hee, although it was actually Grace's. She even sprayed perfume behind Ji-hun, which brought back memories of the beautiful Dong-hee he used to know. Shortly after, Dong-hee arrived, and Ji-hun was very happy. It turned out that everything was part of a plan by them, where Ji-hun then brought up their marriage again, and Dong-hee was very pleased. However, Dong-hee's happiness was short-lived because it turned out that Ji-hun wanted to marry her only because of the prize of the building. Knowing this, Dong-hee became sad again and returned to her extreme workout routine. Seeing this, Grace quickly stopped Dong-hee and took her to the sauna. At that moment, Dong-hee became calmer, and Grace said she would help her lose weight, but in return, they would split the ownership of the gym building. Hearing this, Dong-hee became happy, but she reminded Grace that she still hated her. Meanwhile, at school, Ina was shocked to see everyone suddenly leave the group chat. She was even bumped into by her friends, who pretended not to notice her presence. Fortunately, Hyung-tae arrived and scared off Ina's friends. She was then taken to the sauna and asked about Dahae's whereabouts after he explained that Dahae had gone to the market. Seeing that Ina was bored because her phone was broken, Hyung-tae then invited her to play. Sometime later, Dahae and Il-hong were shocked to see Ina at the sauna and defeating Hyung-tae in a game. She was actually using her power to predict Hyung-tae's moves, while Dahae assumed that her arrival was Il-hong's doing. However, Il-hong said that Ina came because she was looking for something that she couldn't find at home, which was happiness. Il-hong also wanted to bring Dahae closer to Gwi-ju again, realizing that they loved each other. But Dahae kept denying it. Despite this, Il-hong had already bought seaweed because Gwi-ju liked seaweed. That night, Dahae met Mundhum at a place. Unexpectedly, she gave a car to Dahae to stay away from Gwi-ju. However, Dahae instead asked her to tell Gwi-ju to stay away from her, which shocked her. Dahae even gave the lottery ticket she had won to Mundhum and said that it was a gift from Gwi-ju. But now, the lottery ticket was a payment to make Mundhum keep Gwi-ju away from her. Additionally, Dahae offered sleeping pills, hoping that Mundhum could use her powers. But Mundhum refused, saying it was no longer effective. Dahae then explained that Mundhum could sleep and dream because of hope. Therefore, she hoped the lottery ticket would fill her with hope. Sometime later, at the Bok family home, Soon-gu was being harassed by the husband of the woman he had an affair with at the nightclub. Soon-gu was looking for money to pay off the demand, and happened to see his wife sleeping with the lottery ticket from Da-hae in her hand, so he immediately took it. Shortly thereafter, Gwi-ju came looking for the ring that Da-hae had mentioned earlier. Soon-gu then said that it was their family ring, which Da-hae had stolen. Knowing this, he then took the ring and couldn't believe that Da-hae had stolen it. But when he went to the family safe, the ring was still there, and Gwi-ju realized that he had been the one who saved Da-hae in the fire 14 years ago and had given her the ring. After that, Gwi-ju approached Da-hae to confirm it, where she then said that the ring was indeed from her rescuer, who gave it to her when he saved her and asked her to keep it. At the same time, Mundhum dreamt that the man who saved Da-hae was actually Gwi-ju. And the story continues. Moral lesson from the story: when life throws you back in time, make sure to save the receipt for all the drama. Also, never propose at a sauna. It just gets steamy in all the wrong ways.